Hey, what is up guys, Matt here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the Topical Finasteride Liposomal Gel and its effects on systemic DHT suppression. I decided to do this video because there are not so many studies. In fact, there are no studies that would kind of observe the effects of Topical Finasteride Liposomal Gel on systemic DHT suppression. Fortunately, one of my subscribers reached out to me recently because he has done a lcms test and he got his DHT levels measured after using this for about 6 months, and here are the results.
This video has been brought to you by GoFiber. Enter your pictures and win a 1-year supply of GoFiber. It's easy to enter. Order a free sample, take a clear before and after pictures and send them to selfie@gofiber.com.
Hey, welcome back guys, good to see you again. The topic of today's video is clear, but before we go right into the topic of today's video, I have to mention this is a hair loss and hair transplant related channel where I talk about things like how to not go bald prematurely and what are the effective ways how to slow down your hair loss or even stop your hair loss and regrow some hair, meanwhile get some hair transplants along the way to bring your hair game to another level. Alright guys, now let's come back to the Topical Finasteride Liposomal Gel 2.5% solution, which my subscriber has been using for 6 months. It's a pretty high concentration, I'm not gonna lie to you, okay? It's like 25 milligram of finasteride equivalent per 1 milliliter of this solution. 1 milliliter of this solution equals 4 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't worry, it's empty. But I've been using it as well. Now, what is the advantage and disadvantage or limitation of the test that my subscriber did? Well, the advantage is that it was lcms MS test. Liquid chromatography mass spectrometry. Now, why lcms testing is much better to detect your DHT levels precisely compared to like immunoassay testing, it's simply because the lcms testing has much higher molecular specificity and detection sensitivity. And since the DHT levels in men are much lower compared to the testosterone levels in men, talking about nanograms per deciliter, it's very tough sometimes to detect the precise amount of the plasma DHT if the plasma DHT levels are very, very low to begin with. And especially if you get on finasteride or dutasteride and you're going to crush your DHT levels even lower, you need lcms testing to detect them precisely. And that's the good thing that my subscriber did. Here's the limitation of the test. Well, not of the test as such, but limitation of the whole testing. We don't know his baseline DHT values because before he started with this gel, he didn't have his DHT tested. So we may as well say like, hey, well, maybe your DHT levels were so low already before you started. And they are really low, guys. I'm gonna show you in a moment. So they're really, really low. The laboratory where he got tested has a reference range for DHT from 0.25 all the way up to 1 nanogram per milliliter, which is 25 to 100 nanograms per deciliter. His result is 6 nanograms per deciliter of DHT, or 0.06 nanograms per milliliter is a really low value, which can be commonly found in men with 5-AR, 5-alpha reductase deficiency, and thus inability to convert testosterone into DHT, which I assume is not his problem, because if that would have been his problem, I think again he would have had like much bigger issues over the course of his puberty and the whole masculinization process. I don't think that he had these levels of DHT so low prior to starting with the topical finasteride. But again, that's just my assumption, but I think it's pretty likely. Let's assume his DHT prior to starting was at the very low end of the reference range, which would be like 25 nanograms per deciliter. That would mean a 76% drop in his DHT levels. Assuming my subscribers was around 25 nanograms per deciliter of DHT prior to starting with the topical finasteride. Assuming he would have been somewhere in the middle, let's say maybe 60 nanograms per deciliter of DHT prior, that would have been almost like 90% drop in his systemic DHT levels. Now, if we take a look at some studies on topical finasteride hydroalcoholic solution 0.25% one, which is like 10 times weaker than this, but still pretty strong, the systemic effects on DHT of these solutions were 74 to 80% 6 to 12 hours post-dose. I'd love to see a similar study which would maybe compare a topical finasteride hydroalcoholic solution, let's say 0.25% one, to this one, which is a liposomal solution 2.5% one, and kind of compare their efficacy in terms of DHT suppression on the scalp and DHT suppression systemically. So that would be a pretty cool study in order to kind of get the best trade-off from topical finasteride in terms of getting some nice DHT suppression on the scalp and minimize the DHT suppression systemically. You gotta thin the concentration down a little bit. So you buy either like a 0.1% solution or 0.2% solution, which is commercially available, or from your pharmacy, but it has to be hydroalcoholic one, by the way, and you can thin it down with some solvent like stamoxidine, and I also made a video on that, how you can do it in order to thin it down potentially onto like as down or as low as 0.025%, which really has shown to have the best, like, pretty high efficacy in terms of DHT suppression on the scalp. I think it was like 54% or so, and ability to only suppress the systemic DHT by 24%. And I think the original goal of developing topical finasteride should have been minimizing the side effects, like literally, and kind of back it up with studies, not just say that, hey, we have a topical finasteride, it's not going to go systemic. That's not enough, okay? You have to kind of confirm it with some studies that could really say like, okay, it really is not going to suppress DHT by 60-70% like oral finasteride, but it's gonna be like 20. Then it makes sense. But if it's like 70 or 80, you might have as well started with oral finasteride and just stayed on that, okay? I just wanted to share with you guys that even if you use these liposomal gels, it's not guaranteed that your DHT in your plasma will remain unaffected. In fact, it can get affected pretty ugly, okay? Fortunately, my subscribers said that he didn't get any sexually related side effects. However, he mentioned something about depression. Let me read it to you. But honestly, my depression, anxiety, which was very light, started to worsen after about 3 months after the start of 2.5% finasteride liposomal gel, which make me question the long-term viability of taking finasteride. So that's everything he said, or he texted me on topic of, you know, side effects. So he didn't seem to have any like erectile dysfunction or any sexual like libido loss, anything like that, but it was something with the anxiety and these kind of things. But again, we know that guys who are susceptible to depression, to these types of symptoms, are more likely to experience some amplification of these symptoms while they're gonna get on finasteride. There's also the nocebo phenomenon, which also plays a role. So usually it's the case, if you are more susceptible to these symptoms, you are gonna probably experience some form of amplification of these depressive symptoms while you start on finasteride or any other 5-AR inhibitor. Okay, so that's unfortunately how it is. Again, I didn't experience these symptoms. I didn't experience any sexually related side effects on this gel, but this is his experience. But that wasn't the point of this video. It was just on top of this video. The main focus was me sharing with you what topical finasteride liposomal gel can or cannot do in terms of systemic DHT inhibition. Alright guys, that was pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and for all you guys who are already managing your hair loss successfully and you want to bring your hair on another level, you want to get a hair transplant to really get your hair back on the areas where no treatment had worked previously, you tried everything, then you are a good candidate. If the donor is there, if the donor quality is good, you can get a good hair transplant, and I can help you with that. I can assist you throughout your hair transplant research. I can share with you what are the good doctors, which doctors you should avoid at all costs, okay? And share with you what would or wouldn't be possible with your situation and things that you should pay attention to. If you are somebody who is interested in a hair transplant, you can of course also get my free ebook 5 things I wished I had known before my hair transplant entirely for free on my website mattdominance.com. And if you want to apply for a hair transplant strategy session with me in person, you can do so on www.mattdominance.com/mentoring when I'm going to personally help you and assist you throughout your hair transplant research, as I did already with many of my clients. In fact, I have already helped over 500 clients in person. There are many results on my website of clients that I already helped with their hair transplant research. They already got their hair transplants and their results are amazing. Okay, so you may want to check out mattdominance.com/mentoring for that. There are plenty of testimonials as well, and if you have any more questions, you can just comment below or DM me on Instagram. That's even better. My Instagram is mattdominance if you have any questions regarding my hair transplant strategy sessions. And again, that was it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you in another video. Take care.